Suneera Madhani. Suneera Madhani.
Without much further ado, I'd like to welcome Suneera.
Hi, I'm Suneera Madhani, a mom of two, daughter of an immigrant, and an unlikely entrepreneur who built a billion-dollar business. Yes, billion. Now I'm doing it again and building my second unicorn, Worth. Shockingly, less than 2% of female founders ever reach 1 million in revenue, and I'm on a mission to change that. At CEO School, we mentor thousands of women to help them level up in business and in life. We believe that you deserve to have it all because honestly, nothing bad happens when women make more money. Grab a seat because class is officially in session. Welcome to CEO School. Hi everyone, welcome back to the CEO School podcast. I'm your host, Suneera Madhani, and today we're going to do a two-part episode series. So this is the end of year, and I'm doing a lot of reflecting on this year, as I'm sure you are as well. It has been such a tremendous season with all of you. I have felt like I'm just sharing this new journey and building my next company, reflecting on what an intense year that I had. I did a lot this year. I had so many commitments. I was all over speaking, keynoting, mentoring, doing the boards, building a startup, running CEO School. I mean, it has been full intense from a work standpoint. And I've got a third grader this year, and that's been, just a new level of homework and life, and a kindergartner and a husband and a mom, and now a new nephew and my brother and my sister-in-law and life and all the things. Like, it has been an incredible year, but a very full year. And so with that, as I'm winding down for the year, it is so important to sit and reflect on what worked, what didn't, and the lessons of 2024. And not only is it important to think about the lessons that I learned this year, I really want to focus on things that I'm going to be quitting for 2025. And so I love to think about what are the things that didn't work so well, right? That I want to let go of. And so when I start the new year, it's not about resolutions for me. It's about starting now and doing that reflection to say, what are the things that I want to continue and what are the things that I want to let go? So I got my notes here because it's been a lot of lessons, a lot of things learned, a lot to talk about. And so I'm going to do this in a two-part series. And first, I'm going to start with what I'm quitting in 2025. So part one, we're going to do part one of this episode today on what I will be quitting in 2025 and things that you should be consider quitting in 2025. And for me, it's not wine. So that I will say, so we can clear that up. So it'll be more mindset things and things that I've really reflected on. And I'm really excited to share that with you here today. And then next week, we'll go into the lessons of this year so that maybe there are some things that you can learn from my experience for this year as you're going to be building out your amazing 2025, which I'm so excited to be part of next year as well. So before we get started, I want to thank all of you as our incredible listeners. We are about to close this season in the next two episodes. And God, I don't even know how many. We don't even keep track of seasons, but we're in 300 plus episodes in. We've been running the show for 4.5 years. Going into next season in January will be our 5th year of the podcast. 5 years, so long, so consistent, so incredible. And it's because of all of you every week tuning in, not only just listening, but sharing the podcast, sharing it on your socials, leaving us a review, leaving me a review. I show up every week for you. And it means the world to me that you're listening and that it's resonating and that you love it. And I'd love that conversation that we get to have on social as well. So if you're not part of that conversation, we do share the episode notes. I do share what you want to talk about. I'll do AMAs. And so we've got so many great things that I'm planning for next year that I can't wait for you to be part of. So I just want to start by sharing some gratitude and what a year it's been. And I hope we get to do it all again next year. And I'm just so grateful for it. So with that, let's talk about the things that I'm quitting in 2025. Let's go. So this year, as I had mentioned, it just was a huge growth year for me. It's always a growth year, but this year I feel like I took on so much and I had a lot of commitments that were already there. So I do think that the start of Worth kicked my butt for sure. It was I feel like because I was in such a groove as CEO, 2 years prior. So I've been out of my role of Stacks for 2 years. So I took that 1 year hiatus, started to work on the next business. But I forgot what it's like to be back at that building stage of 0 to 1, right? I mean, it's hard to go build everything from scratch all over again. And I'm so excited that I get to share it with you because I get to share all the lessons in building $1 billion business, but I also get to share in real time what's happening in building it again. And so that was tough. And also really exciting. Like I feel so purpose driven and aligned to why I'm building. And it's not for another accolade or for another championship. Like it really is, I know what we can solve and what we can go build, and I'm excited to do it. And so my excitement for the business is there, but I forgot how hard it was. And I had a lot of commitment. So I had worth as a big commitment. And then I had all of these other things. Like life just gave me so many opportunities these last 2 years post my exit. And I think it's because obviously I earned them and I worked hard in putting myself out there. Planted so many seeds over the last decade, but I did feel the fruit, actually bearing the fruit this year. I did really feel it. I got opportunities nonstop. And these are opportunities that I feel like it was just hard. Like it's all the things that I know, all the lessons that I reflected on the year before, right? It's like saying no. I'm going to be able to say no, but how do you say no to speaking at Harvard? How do you say no to going to the United Nations? How do I say no to supporting female founders through every major conference that I got an opportunity to be part of? How do I say no to sitting on the Inc. advisory board? How do I say no? Like these are opportunities that I feel like I did work so hard for, but they kind of all came all at once. And it was this year. Like I did feel that, and I'm so grateful for it. And as I reflect on this year, the lesson number one, that the thing that I'm quitting in next year is overcommitment. And so I do think that as things came, I, said yes, and I was overcommitted. And I had to build a startup from ground zero. I had to build a team from 0 to 50 this year. I had to go fundraise again this year. Like I had an entire, 50-hour-a-week work life again that wasn't there when I made those commitments the previous year, right? So overcommitment is something that I'm going to be quitting in 2025. And God, I hope you still grant me all of these opportunities because I do want to receive them, but I got to clear some space so that I can receive those commitments. I was also overcommitted with all of our businesses. So a part of my life as CEO or as just Suneera is I'm CEO of a company called Side Hustle Ventures. I don't think I've ever shared that with all of you. So Side Hustle Ventures is my, parent organization, or like my company of companies. And so that's where CEO School lives in. We have investments, lots of investments. And so that is, I sit on boards. When I go out to speak or I'm keynoting and I'm, getting paid to do that, that's where that sits. It all sits inside Hustle Ventures. Well, I had a lot of commitments inside Hustle Ventures in investments that we were doing. And my partner, my husband, really supports in leading all of that. And he's got his own also businesses, right? So Faisal has an incredible vacation rental business. And we have, a property management company as well. And so he's got his commitments. Side Hustle Ventures kind of all is encompassing of all the things. And then I've got Worth. And I've got all of you. I've got the podcast and all of that as well. So there were many, many commitments that were outside of the things that, and then there were just a lot of commitments, right? And so also then all the opportunities that came this year. So with that, as you can just hear, it. It's a lot. And I don't want to be a lot, right? I'm of quality. I want quality, not quantity. But everything that I did touch, I will say, was of the utmost quality. And that is important to me. So I can't even look back. And I was reflecting on this with Brielle, my business partner here at CEO School, and she supports me in all of also PR and kind of those opportunities. And I was like, what did I say yes to that I should have said no to? And I couldn't think of one opportunity that maybe I could have passed. And I said no to a lot as well. I said no to so many things this last year and events that I wanted to be at. Can name you one. I was invited to come speak for Techstars, and I'm aligned to that brand. I'm aligned with, we've invested in them. We're also I'm part of the tech, ecosystem. Like it all was perfectly aligned, but there's so many things that it was too much. Every year I go to the Ernst & Young Strategic Growth Forum. I was a judge this year for the EY Entrepreneur of the Year program. And I said no to going to the conference. I said yes to being a judge, and it's a 3-year commitment for that, but it's such a prestigious, I'm so excited to do that. So I said yes to that. And I said no to not being able to be there in person for the week-long conference. So I did say no. So it's not like your girl here was just like, yes, 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 bing, bing, bing. It was strategic, but I was still overcommitted. And so the lesson is that, going into next year, I'm going to quit overcommitting. And how I'm going to do that is knowing what are the things that, I know I'm not going to fool myself. I'm going to have opportunities to go speak at conferences that I love and I want to support. I'm going to have opportunities to sit on boards that I love and I support. And I've got this company. And I've committed to doing this podcast. I'm committed to CEO School, doing the 2 retreats that I'm doing next year. So I already know where I'm pot committed. So where there's opportunity for me is to say, great, I want to do this. So it's not a but. And I could limit myself to say, I'm going to take on 4 opportunities next year. So once a quarter, I will go out to a conference to speak. It doesn't matter whether it's paid or unpaid. If it aligns with my brand, if it's something I want to do, I get 4 opportunities to do so. They better be really great. All right. And so it's about quantifying those buckets for me and thinking about it as buckets. And you and I, we've talked about buckets for years. This has been 2020 podcast of the bucket principle. So I'm thinking about my time in these buckets as well and saying, great, Suneera, you love to do this, then you can do this, and it has to look like this. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about the dangers of overcommitting or how spreading yourself too thin is going to lead to burnout. That's definitely where I was again this year. Sorry for the pause. We'll come back. But the plan is to be intentional with the time and energy, right? And so focusing on the things that truly, truly align to what I want to do, right? That's important. And that aligns with my mission. And that includes philanthropy too. So I will say that this last year, I also had commitments of so much philanthropy that I love to do. I was part of so many organizations that I supported this year. I gave my time, I gave my dollars, I gave resources. I got people together to do drives for backpacks and for school supplies, to women supporting women, to, the Heart Association, to Baby. I did some awesome things that I want to be able to do next year as well. And so it's okay, here's the philanthropy bucket. So what is the one thing that I'm going to really focus on for next year? And this is what I love to do on board. So what is the 2 things that I'm going to focus on this year? So it's having these buckets and then setting some boundaries with those buckets for myself and saying, Suneera, it's enough. And that is going to be great for you for next year. So that's what I'm committed to. Quitting is overcommitment. And I hope you join me in that, because I bet even though my life is this crazy, I bet yours is too. And in 2024, I feel like every single year, no matter what comes off of our plates, doesn't it just feel like it's busier? Every year, everything just feels bigger. It just feels busier than ever. And that is the truth of life. And I would say it's because our lives become more complex. Our businesses every year become more complex. Everything becomes more complex. And then it's not even our fault. The world becomes more complex. Everything that's thrown at us, from social to the news to just the information sharing, everything is so fast, on demand. It's a lot. And so, of course, that is that level of life complexity that we don't even control that gets added. So it has felt so much busier every year. And so I bet that's the same for you. So whether this is my life and I get to share that here with you, but I guarantee you in your life, you're listening right now, you're like, Suneera, you're right. It is super complex, right? And time is the only thing that is a finite amount. That's what we get. And so I would love if you join me in this overcommitment challenge, and let's take a look at our buckets again, and let's reestablish those buckets to say, great, if I love to do this, let's just be a little bit more intentional about that. Even a simple area of vacations. actually an area that I never counted. Like I travel a lot. I mean, I've literally been on an airplane. I should probably count that. Maybe in the next episode, I'll have that ready for you of how many airplanes I was on this last year. And it's every week, I would say, of last year, I was on an airplane. But then I have family commitments too, right? And so then I've got our kids' spring break and our fall break and ski. And we take the last year, we do a weekend every year in the Bahamas for this end of year trip. So we have like 4 vacations that are already pre-booked for next year that are traditions that we go do. And that doesn't include, anything else that comes up. And so even just establishing like, great, next year there's 4 trips, and just like knowing that it's so much easier to say no. Like it just is. And I'm like, great, I get 1 trip for the summer. Like that's our trip. So I can't commit to this and this. Like I got to pick the thing. And it just helps our family, I think, be more intentional. So I'm really excited about that. It's just taking the buckets a little bit further, defining just the quantity. And then you're like, great, this is what works. And if we do feel like we still need, to take if the kids want to do something, we can do a staycation, do something lighter. And so there's so many ways that you can incorporate that, but having harder boundaries around it to say, no, we're committing to 4, and it's better for us in time. And it's also better for us in our budget. Right. So, overcommitment, number 1, I'm quitting in 2025. Number 2 is, I think it sometimes can go hand in hand. And first I had wrote letting go of perfectionism, and I've like crossed it out. So you can literally see it. It's crossed out because that's not going to happen. Like I am going to continuously work on it. But I like excellence and I strive for excellence. I want to put out excellence. I think that is my brand of excellence. And I think I can for sure be better at it. And I'm learning to delegate more, and I'm learning to find processes that work better for us in my level of perfectionism. And I would like that good enough is good enough. And it is for the most part, but I'm not adding that to what I'm quitting for 2025. So it didn't make the list. The thing that I am quitting though, that I really thought hard about is like, what did I do this year that I feel like I still am not like, those areas where like, am I really true to myself here? I have a really hard time in disappointing others. So I think a lot of us do. And that's what I'd like to quit in 2025. Okay, so hold me to it, or just a thought, but I'd like to quit that. I'd like to quit feeling that I can't disappoint somebody, or I feel that if I'm going to say no, or if I don't do a thing, or if I give feedback, or, hold somebody accountable, that, I have this level of like, even through all my experience, and I'm able to combat it very quick. I'm able to hold people accountable. I'm able to say no. But still, if I'm fully honest with all of you and I'm fully honest with myself, I have a fear of disappointing people. I still need to be liked. I still have whether it's an employee, whether it's my mother, whether it's, something for like, a partner, a customer, like it's hard for me to just walk away and just be okay with, great, like you're not going to like me, but this is what is important to me. And this is how I want to be treated, respected, or it just doesn't work for me. Even if it's as simple as like, great, I won't be able to do the commitment for the charity because I just can't do it. And I have to say no. I have this fear of disappointing someone. And so that is an area that I would really like to quit. So I'd love your help. And I really don't have much advice to share here, besides just sharing the truth of it. Like I do have that. And I think many women can relate to this. And it's okay. Like I am, and it's not even okay to disappoint somebody. Sometimes you're not going to disappoint them. Like it doesn't have to be disappointment. It just is what it is. And I think we just have this fear of that it turns into like, overthinking, and that word disappointment is just a big word. Right. And I feel like that's also like us as like, I did feel that way as a kid too. Like I never wanted to disappoint my parents. Right. I don't want to disappoint all of you. I don't want to disappoint my team. I don't want to disappoint. It's a heavy word. And I think that everything doesn't have to be that heavy in disappointment. So by me saying no, that I can't do the charity event for December for an organization that I love, it's not disappointment. It's I can't do it now. I have it in line for next year as part of my buckets. I will do it in March. Not a disappointment. And even if it's just a no is okay. So we have a huge wait list for my time for coaching, right? And like I used to offer, a mastermind, or I used to offer one-on-one coaching. Last year, I did 2 clients for one-on-one, and I could do it. Do I want to do it? I love to do it. A couple of boards that I've been asked to be on position. Like I love the one-on-one stuff. I love direct, having business impact, but I can't do it. I don't have the time to do it. And so that is just a no. It's not a no, and I'll do it in Q2. It's just a no. And it may be disappointing to the other party, or it may not. And we can find an alternative, or I can, offer other solutions for them to find a way to work with me in other capacities. And so there are ways to just say no and be okay with that. So it's not about being okay with saying no. The word here that I really want to quit is disappointment. So it's disappointing others, or if that feeling of that I'm disappointing others, I'm going to quit that feeling. So I'm going to work on that. I'd love to hear your thoughts here. So I feel like right now I've just been like, I just wanted to share that. That's what I want to quit. I'd love to hear if this is like true for you. So please ping me on social. So I don't feel like this is like, I do feel that. I feel like that's the weight of it. I put too much weight on it. So it's not the perfectionism. It's not the saying no. It's not the boundary thing anymore. It's just that heaviness that I associate with it. So I'd love for that to be gone from my life. For most parts of it, I'm sure it's not going to be all the time, but I'd like that for that to be gone in 2025. So that's number 2, is the feeling of disappointing others. I want to quit that. Number 3, okay, this is something that I think I'm always working on, quitting. And it creeps up in my life every year, and I have to remind myself that it's okay and that we're going to quit it and we're going to move past it, is doubt and fear. Okay. So fear, even though you'd be like, I've done the things, I've been through the ringer, like I'm back at it again. And like getting back on the horse, like if you've fallen off the horse, or even if I got off the horse, even didn't fall off the horse, I'm still getting back on. There's a level of fear and doubt that is back again as a founder again. There's a level of fear and doubt of when I, am trying anything new, or I'm putting myself back out there. And I do feel that feeling again with Worth. And it surprises me because I'm like, wait, where's that coming from? Like, I'm very confident in myself now. I've worked really hard to not be in this position. I know that if I take a bet on myself, it will be successful because I've seen it done before. And it's my own feeling. Like I always say it. If I can do it once, I can do it again. And if I can do it again, I can do it better. And I know this time around, it's going to be better. So I have this like odd feeling of like, I know it's going to be successful, yet still I have doubts and fears. And I'm trying to overcome that. And I feel like it still creeps up every year in my life. And I want to share that with you. And it comes in like so many different ways. Self-doubt, my mindset as well, in terms of, hiring, my mindset in terms of my leadership. Like I feel like as I'm growing a team, I'm constantly back at questioning my leadership again. Also, I'm taking bets, right? It's like just trusting myself to go for it. There's that level of it. I think Sal sometimes will bring it up and he'll be like, where are you right now? Like where's Suneera? And like, why are like, you're coming at this from like a more conservative approach. And I'm usually the one that I'm like, let's go try the big crazy thing. And I do feel I've been a little bit more conservative back again. And I think it comes from fear of failure, or it comes from fear of like me wanting to have the reserve, or for me not wanting to go experiment and just to be more perfectly methodical and calculated, which are great traits of me as a CEO, but in founder mode again. Like I'm back in founder mode again. I got to play, I got to have fun. I got to go for it. We got to try things. We got to fail a bit. We got to get a no from a customer. Like all these things are okay, but it creates that level of doubt and fear. And so I want to share that with you here because I know many of you are at different places in your business. So you could literally be starting a business today and you have that doubt and fear. You could be in year 1 and building that team and have doubt and fear. You could be in year 10 and 15 like me now at this second stage, not even building again, but still have doubt and fear. So it's something that I am also working on. So I want to share that with you because this is what this is about. This is about sharing what really is happening and how I'm shifting that mindset. I do have some action advice here for this one. Didn't have action advice on the disappointment part, so you're going to help me with that. Overcommitment, action advice, right? Picking the numbers and let's just pick to that. Let's stick to that. That's what we're doing there. For doubt and fear, I do think that this is where a key mentor, a business coach, or somebody to hold you accountable, board of advisors, a peer group, like they are the ones that can be your North Star when you're feeling that. And so I do believe that I've always had that. So that's how I kind of like am able to get through that. So when I do start to have those feelings of it, I can go to my mentor. And I have biweeklies with my mentor and we have a conversation. I also have, a business coach that I spend time with, and it's business therapy, and she's incredible. And I'm actually going to be bringing her on. So I've, here for some live coaching with all of you. So come January, I'm actually going to be inviting Laura in for a 4-part series. And I've got multiple coaches as well. So Laura has been my true guiding North Star coach for 10 plus years. And then I have different people that I bring in for accountability in different ways. And I'm going to bring those amazing humans as well in on that conversation for next year. So you guys can see it and hear it firsthand. But I'm going to bring her in so that she's helped me a lot with the fears and the doubts and really understanding myself. And so I think it'll help you with some actionable tools and advice there. But it doesn't have to be paid. So I also just want to share that, like finding that person on the other side, it doesn't have to be a paid relationship. Your peer groups, finding mentors in this space, like just having that is so critical. And so find yourself that tribe and get out of your AirPod or your computer screen. Like it's not going to happen here. It's going to happen, by getting yourself into whatever room there is, a digital room, in-person room, or just creating a peer group. But surrounding yourself with other leaders is going to make you better so that you can talk it through, right? We just heard that episode from Julie Rotuno, and a huge part of her shift going from a business owner to CEO was just putting herself in a room with other amazing women and amazing CEOs. And she's like, I felt like I wasn't crazy. And that I was actually worthy of different things. And I brought so much to the table because there were areas that I was helping them with, and there was areas that I needed help with that they were helping me with. So that is a great way that we can make those shift decisions. And I do believe that doubt and fear also like our mindset is what we feed it. And so things I'm quitting is like crap on my social media, crap in my ear, right? Like I do want to be listening to positive, exciting, the right mindset things, right mindset podcast. I want to be like on social. I want to be inspired to take action and not just scrolling for, envy, right? And so it is important for us to be able to feed our minds with the right talk and narrative, because when we're seeing things and we're always thinking grass is greener on the other side, it's not what it is for any business or influencer or whoever you're following on social. I think that those things do feed into our psyche and it makes us feel like we're not good enough. So those are some action tips that I think that you can take with you to start 2025 off with a bang. Incredibly amazing. And I hope you quit those things with me too. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode on things that I'll be quitting in 2025. It was pretty vulnerable. Please let me know what you thought on social. And if I'm not the only one that's feeling that disappointment or that overcommitment or that doubt and fear, and let's work on it together. So I'd love to have that dialogue with you on social. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave me a review. I would be so grateful. And please share the show. We are growing. We're growing the show, and we're going to be in our 5th year next year. And I would love to have some awesome milestones for the podcast for next year. And so please share the show with your friends, with others. This is the best time to do it. So if you're on this, on the train of the best mindset going into 2025, closing up this year, starting it with a bang, let's bring our friends along. Like what greater than to have that conversation here and then to go for a walk with our friends, or to have that discussion, have that accountability with them on all of these things. So bring your friends. It's a party. So let's do it. And I'll see you on next Monday. So next Monday's episode will be on all the lessons for 2024 that you can also reflect on with me. And I'm excited to do that. So I'll see you next week at CEO School.